Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy Wednesday to you. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes here. All right. Good morning, everybody on the East Coast. 10 a.m. Welcome to 10-Figure Business Mastery Live Webinar Wednesdays. Good to be with you. Good to have you here. Let's get started. Welcome to Business Mastery Live Webinar Wednesdays. Good to have you here, wherever you're chiming in from. If you're from social media, YouTube, wherever you're listening and chiming in from, welcome. All right. So let's get started. This is me, Cheston Bolgen with By the Books Consulting. Okay, this is our company, By the Books Consulting. I'm the senior consultant and founder here. And this is how you reach us. This is how you reach out to get any help and assistance with your small business in the areas of accounting, taxes, QuickBooks, tax strategy. Maybe you need somebody to come in and help you understand financial literacy in your business, read the numbers story. That's what we do. All right, so that's who we are. You can reach us by any of these means, bythebooksconsultants.com, youraccountingsuperhero.com. You can reach me via email, cheston@bythebooksconsultants.com. Good to have you here. All right, so this thing on the right here talks about how you can actually work with us. We can be your partners in your business for one monthly subscription. All right, this covers everything. You can get your taxes filed, you can get your books done, you can have some advisory services. We can monitor your tax position all year long so that you understand where you stand, and we can create a plan for you as well to make sure that you're not overspending in taxes, that you always know your position when it comes to that, so you can keep your hard-earned money, come up with plans so you can execute and take actions on a plan to keep your money as you grow your business so you can have freedom, wealth, and legacy. Okay, that's what we do in a nutshell. Okay, and real quick, we are QuickBooks Pro Advisors. I am a pro advisor with QuickBooks Online, that software, that technology. We are hosting a boot camp. It's that time of the year. These conversations as of late are really geared toward making sure you're set up to win when it comes to the end of 2023 and moving into 2024. Okay, so part of that is doing boot camps. We're going to be doing a monthly boot camp. This November 19th is our next QuickBooks Online Superhero Boot Camp. You can register for that by going to youraccountingsuperhero.com. Actually, let me make sure that this is the correct web address. We just changed this up recently. And I'm going to actually type this in the chat for us. Okay. So it's really going to be advisory, by the Books Consultants, consultants.com / QBO superhero bootcamp registration. Okay. That's how you can get signed up for this QuickBooks Online Bootcamp on November 19th. All right. This particular one here, and most likely you can use this link that's here to redirect you to this site. All right. But I want you guys to get the direct access to that so that you can level up in your business. One of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, that I've seen anyway, there's a suffering that goes on with really being confused and overwhelmed when it comes to this area of business. You really don't, maybe you're adverse to the technology side of things. You really don't feel comfortable using this type of technology, or maybe you don't feel comfortable keeping up and tracking everything that you're doing in your business when it comes to the financial activity. Most often, we are good at what we are good at inside of business. For me, it's always been services. I've been good at performing services in whatever business I've taken on as an entrepreneur. Okay. And inside of that, the services that you do are not enough. Like providing a good quality service is not enough. You want to have all those components together in your business to have it operate successfully. So this is one of those areas that you really want to take on, to master inside of your business, so that you are not only prepared come tax time. This is why we're talking about this, because at the end of the year, you want to make sure you're set up to win come tax time. But you also want to have that number story for yourself, that picture, that financial picture for yourself, so you can make on-the-fly decisions, like snap decisions when it comes to being highly efficient and effective at your business, like moving that thing forward. Every year, guys, what we want inside of your business is for that business to be transformed in a way where you're actually on a whole new level. You've actually achieved some growth. You've achieved some increased performance in your business. You've increased your ability to leverage a lot of the systems in your business, so you can free up more of your time, and you can place your time in other areas that you might want to invest it in, rather than doing the same old things that you've been used to doing throughout the year. So this is an opportunity to master one of these systems so that you can have your business really run almost on autopilot. You can save time, have increased efficiency, deliver the things that you want to deliver to your customers in terms of the quality that you're looking to do, like improve the amount of quality that you give to your customers. This boot camp is not like your typical QuickBooks boot camp. This is for you. This is for entrepreneurs. You're not accountants a whole lot. A whole lot of you guys are not accountants. Okay. And sometimes, like when we go to things like this, like webinars and boot camps, it's really to learn like this particular software or this particular ideology in this one area, and it becomes compartmentalized. That's not us. That's not what we're here for. We want to make sure this ties in to what it is that you're up to in your business and in your life, so that it makes sense, so that you can go out here every single day and move life forward in this area. Okay, so that's what this boot camp is about. Go here to register. Looking forward to being with you. That's going to be a Sunday, guys. 3-hour event. All right, it's somewhere around, what is it, $70, I believe, $67 or $69 is the cost of this boot camp. You're going to get way more than that in value by participating in this boot camp. So go ahead and get registered for that, guys. That's coming up on November 19th. Looking forward to being with you in that way. All right, that's a lot of fun for me to be with you in that way, to make a difference for you in that way. All right, you'll have me live, right, in Q&A and talking about things that matter to you inside of this area. Okay. All right. So that's that. Quick disclaimer before we get started. The following is for educational purposes only and is not to be considered financial accounting or legal advice. Please consult your tax, accounting, and or legal professional for specific advice. So the tenets that we stand on inside of the 10-figure business mastery, everything inside of what we do here is intended to elevate you inside of your business. All of us, me included. Okay. So we want to take our businesses to whatever the next levels are that we want to take it to. It doesn't have to be 10 figures. Could be less, could be more. But we want to really start thinking about what does that look like for you. But there are some tenets and there's some foundations that we stand on, principles, if you will, that will totally make the difference for you to accomplish those things, for you to take your business from where it is to where you really want to take it. And if you're hearing this, and it's like, man, I'm pretty happy with where I am in business. I really don't have anything more that I want to gain out of it. Then most likely you're in the wrong place. This conversation is not for you. This is only for people who actually want to move their business forward from where they are to where they want to be. Okay, whatever that may look like. So inside of that, there are these principles. One is intentionality, which is mindset mastery. A lot of the times, and really 100% of the times, we are not where we want to be when it comes to moving life forward and achieving certain things. If we have not yet achieved it, it's because we are not yet the being. We're not yet the person. We're not yet the one who can have that out here in reality. Okay, so that usually is something inside internally that we want to shift and move out of the way so that we can be that person and we can have those things that we say that we want. Okay, so that's mindset mastery. It's a realm, it's a world really of intense focus. Okay, where we're not distracted by the things that don't matter. We only are clear to purpose inside of this and what we're up to. All right, if that makes sense. And the next thing that we talk about here, as far as a pillar and a principle, is financial mastery. Financial literacy is something inside of financial mastery that we look to gain here in these conversations. Yeah, understanding the number story, reading the numbers is crucial. Not only that, inside of mastery, it's not just the head knowledge about it, it's really the application of the thing. Okay, so how am I actually using this out here in reality? So, man, I can't tell you enough about how this has made a difference in my life inside of business, in other areas of my life. Just really taking this on in knowing what the reality of the numbers are telling me, okay, and really understanding that to a high degree, and keep adding new levels of understanding as I move forward in life. So gaining that insight and being able to utilize that each and every day is a difference maker inside of financial mastery. The other tenet that we have here is structures, which is system mastery. We're going to talk about two of these things today. The system mastery, structures, and then financial literacy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to cover that a little bit today. Okay. So when we talk about this, we're talking about leverage. This is what this is. What am I leveraging? I'm leveraging the amount of effort that I put into things to make it sustainable. I do these things, and then I have a structure and a system that operates in and of itself on its own. There's a structure there that I lean on to produce the results I wanted to produce. And because of that, I could do more with less. All right. So this is a concept. This is a principle that we want to actually live by inside of business. All right. Structure, system mastery. Everything wants to create a system. Everything we do wants to actually breathe life into a new system or structure so that we can continue to do more with less effort. And last but not least, we have actions. Nothing really happens in the world without taking the actions we need to take. And we call this execution mastery. Either I'm going to do the thing that I said I would do or I'm not. Plain and simple. It's either that or nothing else. Okay. Either I do what I say, either I take the actions that I say I would take, and the actions actually line up with what I'm here to do. Right? They're actually the right actions, if you will, quote unquote, right actions, which are the actions that drive me forward toward the thing that I'm here to produce in life. Okay. This is super important. All right. Nothing really happens out here unless we take those actions that align with exactly the thing that we say we're up to in life. All right. So those are the principles. Those are the pillars on which we stand. And yeah, so we're talking about the end of the year activity for you as an entrepreneur and me as an entrepreneur. Some of the things that we go through during this time of the year, a lot of us are realizing that, there are some things that we just haven't taken care of up until now that really want to be taken care of. And if you are like me, you don't want to have that feeling of last minute of things that are incomplete, things are not done. There's these a pile of tasks that are sitting in the background of our consciousness that we just haven't gotten to yet. Really, we want to have a way to manage these things, these tasks, and these responsibilities, things that we know we must do, the things that we know that are gonna attribute to our overall benefit. We want to make sure we have a level of mastery in this area so that these tasks don't pile up. They're always taken care of, and it's really on autopilot. We want to save time in the process. Okay, so there's a thing of overwhelm, like a feeling of overwhelm with a lot of entrepreneurs that are growing their business that I want to address. I'm speaking to these specific people, like the entrepreneurs who are dealing with overwhelm. They know you need to do something in this area, and you just haven't done it. And then there's an avoidance to it because there's just so much that you haven't done. You know it's going to be a pile of work. It's going to take you a whole lot of time. And you might not necessarily feel as though you have the skill set or expertise. It's like I don't really know what to do here, right? I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to catch up. So much. So I'm speaking to you right now. Okay, you have hope. Okay, you have hope. Inside of this area, you have hope because there are systems that we can lean on. And we talked about it a little bit a few minutes ago in terms of technology. One of those technologies we're going to talk about today is QuickBooks, okay, and how to use it. Now, you don't have to use QuickBooks. You don't have to. I'm just speaking about this technology because it is one that's effective for you as an entrepreneur, like especially at like the beginning stages up until like the mid-size stage. It is a really great technology to use to manage and automate a lot of the things that you just don't want to deal with, right? So that it cuts down the workload. It makes life more efficient, like more. I don't want to use the word efficient. I want to use the word like it makes life easy is what I really want to get to. It can be an easy flowing process to business when we're set up the right way. Now you can utilize this tool or you can utilize another tool. It doesn't matter. But you want to be able to understand that the concept is to make life easier so that you can maintain a level of compliance. Like you're not worried about not doing things on time or not paying things on time. Not like your filings. You want to make sure your filings are up to date. You also want to understand, well, how much it is that you need to pay in taxes, or how much is it that you really made? You know, how does that tie into your business structure? And then like if you're dealing with partnerships and all that, well, percentages that you have per partner, you want to have those things at your fingertips, all that information rather at your fingertips, so that you always know where you stand for one, but it becomes a level of ease inside of the process of this. Okay. Now the technology of QuickBooks can help you do that. All right. So, but how? I'm going to go ahead and start talking about a few things business-wise. You know, one of the things I want to discuss inside of leveraging the technology of QuickBooks, and bear with me a second, guys. I'm going to pull up just a whiteboard here and I'm going to share this with you. Second here. One of the things I believe will make the difference here is an understanding of how to put like organization to what it is that you do. There's an order out of the chaos that you experience. You can have order where it occurs as chaos for you and me. Okay. What do I mean? We talked about that whole feeling of overwhelm, letting things go, just not really staying on top of things throughout the year. And then there's a thing that you want to go back to really clean up the clutter. Like we do a lot of what we call cleanup projects in our business for other entrepreneurs and small businesses. We do cleanup projects, and basically what that is, it means that the entrepreneur, the business owner, hasn't really done the job to keep up with their financials, or they were thinking that they were doing the job, but they were doing it in the wrong way. The wrong way. It wasn't the technical way that it was intended to do. It wasn't like the way it was intended to be done. Rather, it wasn't done that way, and because of that, there's a financial mess. None of the things make sense inside of their books, like their financials. They just don't make sense. Like their book balances for their bank accounts say, they have negative 400,000, but in real life they have 30,000 positive in their bank account. But why does it say negative 400,000 in their books? Or they have a whole bunch of sales that they've recorded inside their books that they just don't recognize. It's just saying, well, I didn't make this much money. Where is it? Where is all this money if I made it? It didn't seem like I made this money. Where is it, all of it? And it really comes down to a root, error in processing and workflow is what it comes down to. Like, what have we been doing up until now for these standard operating procedures in the business to have it work in the way where it produces accurate and up-to-date information? It reflects the reality of my business. And so we do this cleanup job to make sure that their financial tracking and reporting reflects the reality of the business where they were not able to do that before. Okay. There's an alleviation of a lot of stress. There's a lot of clarity that becomes out of that process. Now there's like whenever you do a cleanup, any type of cleanup job, let's say you've accumulated a lot of clutter in your house, a lot of mess, a lot of clutter. Maybe you've accumulated a lot of stuff, maybe a little bit of a hoarding pattern. But man, this is just not how you want to live. You want to get free and clear. You want to make sure that it makes sense inside of the living space, right? Same concept here. We clean that up. We go in there and do the job and get things organized and put things where they belong. Then there's a freeing energy about that, right? There's not really a price tag you can put on that. For one, it's an internal feeling and a value that's well worth going through what we need to go through in order to get that accomplished, because now energy is redirected and focused to things that can move you forward in life. Like, you really free up the energy to do the things you want in life. You feel good about life. You place focus and attention on the things that you want without having those things lingering in the background, slowing you down, right? So it's the same process out. Like, if we do a real cleanup in a house versus when we do a cleanup in the financials, it just gives you that much more freeing energy to actually see with clarity where you stand. You could breathe easier. And then that you're above reproach when it comes to like filing compliance things like taxes and other filings that you want to file. Okay. So the thing that most of us deal with is lack of, one, workflow understanding. They just don't know what to do. So, and they may think they're doing things okay, but then there's a root issue with, okay, they're not really doing things okay. Or there's been a complete avoidance of taking care of this altogether. All right. But why? Why do we do that? We can have a whole conversation and dedicate it to mindset, right? To intentionality, this pillar of mindset mastery, because we do things that sabotage ourselves. We cause our own suffering in that respect. But there's a way for you not to have to suffer. There's a way for you to really just take care of things once and for all, like build the system and then have it really take care of that area so you don't have to deal with the suffering. Okay. So we talk about the system. I'm really going to speak to a QuickBooks now. Okay. So there's a foundation, right? There's a foundation and like foundation to it, like the understanding. Really, I want to say a foundation to money flow in business. So if I'm talking about the foundation of money flow in business, like there's a way that money flows in and out of anything, and most of us are not accountants. I am an accountant. I've always been a numbers person. I've been a finance guy. And the numbers have always made sense to me to a degree. Okay, But I put in a lot of time and a lot of effort into really like understanding like money flow, and I'm still doing that. I do that all the time, right? I spend the majority of my time in business just really looking at, analyzing, and understanding money flow. Okay, but that's not everybody. That's not everybody as an entrepreneur, right? We do what we do inside of service, but we really do want to have a foundational understanding of money flow in business, and it comes down to like, well, source targets, right? So source targets, debits, credits. And we don't want to get too technical inside of this conversation, but we really do want to have the idea that money comes from somewhere and it goes to somewhere else. Money comes from somewhere and it goes somewhere else, right? So let's even put that money comes from some place and it goes somewhere else. It's always here. We can't really say the money goes and it's just gone forever. No, it's still here. It's on the planet. It's just transferred from one place to another. And there are ways that um, we classify this, okay, in terms of what that looks like for a business owner. Now, we talk about a balance sheet. The balance sheet is something that you hear your lenders ask for. Like if you were to go for a loan, your lender is going to ask you for a balance sheet. Okay. They're also going to ask you for a profit and loss. But the balance sheet is key to understanding like this concept here. Money comes from someplace and goes somewhere else. So balance sheets look at what holds balances. That's why they call it a balance sheet. Whatever holds a balance goes on a balance sheet. And what are those things? Okay. So balance sheet, you have assets, you have liabilities, you have equity. This is everything that's on a balance sheet. Okay. Money flows from these sources or to these sources. All right. These are things that transfer. You transfer balances from one to the next. All right. So assets, if we look at assets, these are items that hold value. Okay. So money, like cash, it's a value, it holds value. So if I have cash in my pocket, let's say I have $1,000 in my pocket, well, we already know that's $1,000 of value that I have in my pocket. That's pretty clear. If I have a car in my driveway, it's worth $100,000. All right. Well, I already know that's the value of that item. It holds $100,000 value. If we have a piece of equipment that we bought for $500,000, we already know that holds a value of $500,000. So that these are assets. Okay. In the fundamental technical accounting terminology, assets, they hold value. All right. There's assets that are more liquid than others, which means that there are assets that I can spend and trade more readily than others. Right. So if I have cash in my pocket, that's very liquid. I can take that money, spend it, and get something else in return for that money really quickly. So think about liquidity at its most basic form is cash. All right, cash is the most liquid thing that I have to use as an asset. It's spendable. Okay, this is why people talk about liquidity. And things that are less like that, for example, we have accounts receivable. Like people owe you money on invoices. It's still liquid, but it's not as liquid as cash in the bank, right? I can't really spend it right now, right? I have to wait for these people to pay on those, usually about 30 days, right? Inventory, same thing. It's liquid to a degree because I can turn that into cash pretty quickly. I can sell it off, liquidate that. That's why we call it liquidating it and get cash for it. And now it's spendable, okay? Now, when we start moving into things like vehicles, equipment, we call these fixed assets. These are things that are less liquid. They're not as spendable. It takes something to transfer these into to cash. Okay, I can put a car up for sale, but that might not necessarily be something that I'll sell right away, or there might not even be an intention of selling that car or that vehicle. It wants to be utilized in the business to perform as an asset, right? To make more money. Okay. So we have that. We have real property. You have land, like land and buildings, furniture, fixtures, other equipment. These are more so fixed assets. Okay. So that's items that hold value. If we think of anything that holds value, that's an asset. Okay. Liabilities are loans, right? Liabilities are loans. So, it's interesting because now their balance sheet accounts, like money comes from somewhere, is what we want to say. So liabilities are monies that I owe to others. All right, money that I owe to others. And just like we can have more so things that are more liquid, I guess, to call it current liabilities, and we have current assets, right? To get a little technical with it. But these are monies that we owe to another person. Some of these are owed like within the next few days, 30 days, less than a year. Those are things that we need to pay for like right away. So we need to have liquidity in order to pay for some of the loans that we have, right? The other thing is, like in terms of loans, we have long-term loans, like long-term liabilities, things that are not really due for years, like a mortgage. We pay that over 15, 30 years in some cases, okay? And then we have things like lines of credit, which are, they're revolving, but they're still liabilities. We use that money and we got to pay it back. Those are also liabilities. Car notes, man, those things like liabilities are over multiple years. We're paying off the car note. And if you think about this concept that we're talking about, money flow in business, money comes from some place and goes somewhere else, right? So a lot of times we'll take a loan out, for example. Actually, let me just go over equity first, okay? I wasn't really going to go here too much in this conversation, but now that we're here, let's just go here. Let's get the basics of it. And then next time we get together, we're going to show how this actually pans out inside of like QuickBooks and how we put this together for your business. Okay. Equity. So equity is money that I have invested in my company. Now, equity comes in two forms: money that I put into it, as an investor of my own business, right? And then we have the profits of the business that add value here. All right, that comprises the equity. All right, so either I'm taking my own money and investing into my business, or the profits of the business are turned into the equity. And when I take money out of my business for my own personal use, then I actually take away from that equity. It goes into the negative. Okay, so that's equity. So money comes from someplace, guys. So for example, let's say I have that $100,000 piece of equipment, right? Let's put that here. Well, the money for that equipment or the value from that equipment comes somewhere, right? Comes from somewhere. Now, this could equal, a loan for say a loan for 80,000. Right, this is your liability, right? That's that loan, and then the other one could be a down payment, which is equity. Now, if you think about this, right? Now that it came like that equipment, this is your balance sheet anyway equation. Your asset equals liabilities equity. This is the balance sheet. Okay, I'm gonna put that down here. Assets equal liabilities and equity. Perfect, right? So that's a combination of both. Okay. So money comes from someplace. Money comes from someplace. Real key to understand the foundation of money flow. Money comes from someplace. Okay. Now, what I want you to be left with, because I wanted to get this call done at 10:30. We are 3 minutes over inside of our conversation here today. I'm going to wrap this up powerfully with you in the next 2 minutes to make sure that this lands. Okay. Money comes from someplace and it goes somewhere else. So the somewhere else that it went to was equipment. It came from loans and a down payment, which is equity and liability. Okay. Loan is liability, down payment, the 20,000 is equity. Now, if I can understand this on a fundamental level, then I can start putting the puzzle pieces together in my financial picture, and I can actually start building out the systems inside of the technology that I use via QuickBooks to have this make sense for me all year long. Okay. It's just going to report like this all year long. Now, we did not talk about the expenses, like the income and expenses. That's another thing. All right. So that's the balance sheet, but the income and expenses really deal with the profit and loss. So, with that being said, now we're gaining some understanding of why it is that lenders will ask you for these two things. They want to see the whole financial picture. All right. It's not just one or the other. They usually want to see both. They want to see a balance sheet that gives an idea of this money comes from someplace, it goes somewhere else. And then the profit and loss statement, which is the income and expenses, that also give the complete picture of the same. All right, money comes from someplace and goes somewhere else. All right, guys. Hopefully you got some value inside of this. Hopefully this is not too technical. Hopefully you really feel excited about learning some of this information so that you can utilize this in your business. When you're putting your systems together, you can actually see the picture. And when you can see the picture, that whole puzzle of your business can come together much more powerfully. All right, guys. Thank you. It's been great being with you today. Looking forward to getting back with you next week on a Business Mastery Live webinar Wednesday. Thanks, and I will talk to you later. Take care and goodbye.